And we're back.
We are.
How's it going? And we're joined live via video in the most high-tech of systems that I have.
I like it.
By podcast alumni.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, and someone who needs no introduction.
But we'll introduce you anyway.
Oh, damn, okay.
Oh, thank God. I forgot who I was.
Phil, the Glacial Geek of Glacial Geek fame on YouTube. How's it going, Phil?
Fame, quote, air quotes there. Yeah, I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Oh, man. We're as good as can be.
We here.
We here.
Yeah.
We out here.
Alive.
So,
but doing little things. But we pulled you back on out of the deep south to
back down here in America.
real America. Yeah.
no, America.
America.
Contiguous states.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're
crying
free
out
shipping.
loud.
It's a real thing.
If someone says, yeah, okay. If someone doesn't say Alaska is not a continental state again, I'm going to lose my shit, man.
It's Danny's pet peeve.
It's not contiguous, but
correct.
It's continental. Yeah.
So, Phil,
The continental. Yes.
for people who might not know who you are, all three of them.
Yes. You mean the vast proportion of the world?
Well, no, we only have like 4 listeners.
If you didn't
viewers,
cut him off, I was going to say 3 billion, but okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am Phil, Glacial Geek. I have a YouTube channel, which I think all of which you've already said. But essentially, I do a lot of 40K content on YouTube. I do a lot of battle reports. I do previews of books that are coming out. And I do various other stuff that just comes to my mind whenever I want to do it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Love it. Well, we pulled you in today to talk about 9th edition.
Yes.
As was one of the lucky few to sort of get the Indomitus box to review from GW. We wanted to kind of pull you in, get your kind of your thoughts and all those things as someone who plays the game frequently, which someone with a Bat Report channel will have to do.
Yes.
As it's almost like your job.
Yeah. As it is
right?
literally your job. So we want to talk about some of the big changes, what you guys are excited about. Because I know Danny has been nose deep in this book for a while now.
Deeper than my nose, my friend.
It's like a 1/4 inch in.
Yeah, the whole 1/4 inch, the whole thing. So Phil, on a scale of 1 to woo, how excited are you?
Oh, I was going to say, let me just
turn down your volume.
Yeah, don't set me up for that. Don't set me up for failure. Yeah.
Yeah, you maxed right out like a minute.
Yeah. I'm not editing that. No. I don't edit. So.
Sorry for all you wearing headphones. No, never mind.
They're not wearing them anymore.
No.
John should apologize if anything.
You're like, I'll apologize on my YouTube channel. I refuse to apologize on your guys' stuff.
Yeah. I apologize enough on my channel. I'm not going to apologize on other people's channels.
That's how we take out the competition.
Oh, yeah. Via their ears. We've been doing it for 5 years now.
It's working so well.
Invite them onto the channel and just watch them crash.
But yeah, so you are woo level excited for 9th. There's a lot of changes coming here. What are some of the things that really stick out to you? Some of the major changes for 9th that you are most excited about?
Sure. I think that the biggest thing that I'm most excited about is it seems like GW has made an attempt to really take away a lot of like the feel bad moments of the game. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought that the change from 7th to 8th really just like took off the edges that really caused conflict in games, like the templates or the deep strike scatter, the angles of shooting, like armor facings, all those things that you'd have like minor disputes with your opponent, and it just made for minor bad feelings in a game, not like table flipping moments necessarily, but you still have a situation where someone's not happy with the way it works out, even if you have to dice off for it. They felt like they made that good change in 8th edition. They moved into it. Moving into 9th edition, it seems like a lot of the other feel bad moments, they've taken time to do it, like having a stratagem to be able to get out of being tri-pointed. Because, there's nothing more frustrating than having your screen tri-pointed by their massive assault force that you can't do anything about, and he's just going to kill you on the next turn, no matter what you do. You can't run away fast enough. You can't shoot it. You can't do anything. It just feels bad. And now if you run out of CP, you can't do anything about it. And if they manage to try 0.2 units, you're still stuck. But at least it gives you an option to get out of a situation, and you don't feel hopeless.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I know I primarily play like assault armies and assault-based armies, and a lot of my tactics to win was doing real janky, weird stuff to bend the rules in a way to stop my opponent from interacting. So if I'm tripoding you, I'm doing that so you can't fall back. And if you can't fall back and I have a unit tripoding you in the back line, you can't shoot my characters who are in the middle of the field.
Right.
Like just a lot of, I see a lot of people saying like assault is dead and they've really kind of messed up assault and it's going to be a shooting army. All they've done with assault is they've added a level of skill to it that you're going to need to be able to do in order to pull it off correctly.
Yeah, and I think that there's some other like tangible benefits to assault as well. Like the decrease in table size is really important. I think that like forcing you to go midfield, like you have to go in the middle of the table to win the game. You can't just stay in your deployment zone and win. Like so, I think assault armies get a buff there. It's just more going to be like how you can best trade your punching units for their units so that you're like getting a net gain every time.
Absolutely, and I think that they also like the reducing the Overwatch to basically one unit per side makes a big difference, makes it easier to get into combat. And I think that a lot of the changes they made seem balanced out with each other, because I think a lot of people that were upset with the state of Assault in 9th edition were looking for 9th edition to become the Assault edition, where it was the obvious choice to take. It was the armies that were going to be dominant were only going to be Assault armies. And I don't think GW wanted that. I think they wanted you to be able to choose. If you wanted to shoot, you could shoot. You want to assault, you can assault.
Yeah,
and it really feels like that's what they were bringing with 9th edition.
I think that they did I think they did a relatively good job of balancing the two. Like, I think it's going to be always an easier thing to shoot somebody because it doesn't require like the level of movement and placement that assault does. So assault is always going to be more skill based. Like it's always going to be harder to assault somebody than to shoot somebody. But I think that they've done. I think they kind of. It's all. I don't know. I guess it's all side grades for assault, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you said, it does take more skill to do, but it did feel like there were points in 8th edition where there were only very few assault tactics that worked. There was the mass blob of possessed that could just go across and were just untargetable and make it into combat. And there were very few other options that would really work super well and consistently in 8th edition. In 9th edition, it feels like they have more of an option. They have more of a chance to get into combat, more of a chance to make an impact on the game.
Yep.
And I think that's what they were looking to do. And I think it feels like they succeeded. I'm sure we'll find ways to make it broken.
I'm sure. That is our lot in life, Phil.
Exactly.
Something else you guys mentioned, kind of talking about assault and some of the benefits we're seeing, is the expected change in table size that we have coming up, moving from like 6 foot by 4 foot. Now we're going to the smaller 60 inches by 44 inches.
Yep.
Which is what, about 20% reduction in table size? 25% reduction in table size. You're starting closer together. You have less space in your deployment zone. It's going to be a huge way of changing your game. It's been Sorry, you're saying.
Staying distant, right? They still have the 24 inches.
Oh, yeah. So you have less space in your deployment.
You can't hide as far away.
Yeah,
which is a big deal.
Even in Hammer and Anvil, like knocking like a whole 6 inches off the back of your opponent's deployment zone just means that you can get into assault with things on the back edge 1 turn faster, more or less, which is great.
I mean, I know for me, whenever I was playing 8th, if I got Hammer and Anvil, it was an uphill struggle for me because my opponent just deployed on that back line.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, guess I have 1 more turn of shooting to survive. Another thing there. It's an interesting change. If you look at the reasoning behind it of wanting to fit the kill team size boards and kind of more of those boards fitted together, you can really kind of get it. And understand why they're doing it there, but it seems to be something that hasn't been super popular with kind of some of the vocal minority of players.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I think it's good for the game overall.
I think people just are upset maybe that they have their tables they built and they have their mats that they bought, that they could just throw down and they're good to go.
That's
now
true.
You kind of have to measure it out and tape it off or whatever. But at the same time, unless you're looking to play competitively or you're looking to go into a tournament scene that you're trying to practice or that's what you're trying to do, they still play it at 6x4. Who cares? You know, it's me in your basement. That's what they said.
Yep.
They literally said it's optional. So the only time it becomes mandatory is if the TO at the tournament you're looking to says that's what we're playing.
Right.
And then it's up to them to set it up.
Speaking of more controversial topics as well, from the Eternal War missions in the book, 10% of your score is now based on whether you have a fully painted and based army to a battle ready standard. Now, Phil, I know standard on your channel obviously is to have everything 100% painted all the time.
So I'm not going to get a heads up on any of my opponents.
But again, this has been seen as pretty controversial. Danny, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
So I think it's really good for the game overall. Even though I know a lot of people will probably complain about this feature, I think, especially since local events, like for us, like in our meta, like this is anecdotal, right? But I feel like there's a lot of people that don't have painted armies in our particular like environment. Now, granted, you go to a big tournament and stuff like that, like everything's painted because it's a requirement of the event. But locally, I think it'll cause some friction initially, maybe, and maybe the first few events won't use it, which I'd be sad to see. Because again, I think it's a good change for the game. Like I was saying earlier, and John has oft times quoted me on this, like what looks better to somebody who's just like walking in and looking at a game, like if you have a bunch of people playing it, or if the armies that are on display, like if you have like a lesser number of people, and that's fine. But bringing like fully painted nice armies, I mean, that just makes the game look a lot better than a sea of plastic. And so, I mean, I think it's good for stores. Like they'll sell more paint, they'll sell more brushes, they'll sell more hobby supplies. And I think it's good for like, hey, this is what is expected of you when you play this game. Like it's expected that you'll paint your models. And if you want the full points, and you don't have to, like you can take the 10-point hit if you want, like that's up to you. But I think that it's important to, keep that aspect of it, of the ruling in mind. Like I think it's better for the game's health overall.
So Phil, down there in real America, what is your kind of local meta like tournament wise for kind of painted to unpainted?
Honestly, a lot of people have it painted because they've tried since I've moved down here to get more of a serious gaming scene, like some of the more regional tournaments that they have. And a lot of the even local ones have had painting competitions involved with the regular tournaments that go on. So I think there's always been that emphasis on things being painted. And I know it sounds a little conceited, but a lot of the people in my meta want to play on my channel. So they paint up their army to be on the channel. Because they're like, I saw you on the internet, I want to be on your channel. I'm like, then paint your army. You know, I'm not docking 10 points. I'm just not playing yet. Unless it's painted because nobody wants to watch that on my channel. Doesn't want to see Grey Hordes go across the
True.
Well, I will say you are mostly responsible for my painted Tyranids for like this same reason. I'm like, I wouldn't have, like, I think one time I painted like 40 gargoyles because I'm like, dang it, I want to do this. But I got to paint them up. And I have to say, like, this week, Danny and I are getting ready to play a game of 9th today, actually, or whenever this releases. I haven't, decided the editing level. But we've been like, I've been painting hard to be fully painted for that because I'm like, no, I'm going to get at least 10 points from this game.
Me too.
And they're like, honestly, the satisfaction I've been putting the units out of and seeing, I'm like 2 tanks away from being done. And it looks so good. Like, it looks so much better.
And like it gets me excited to play more. Like to be honest, like I want to put my models on the table when they're done, and I'm really happy. And now that they're done, they're done. Like I don't have to go back and do them, or I don't have to worry about it. It's stress that's off my plate, kind of. So yeah, and I've been working hard too. I painted the Indominus Necron set, so
that's awesome.
Like disturbingly quickly.
I was gonna say. I just got my box. I've got like 3 models. I got 2.5 models built. You've got the entire side painted. They even shipped it up there to what, like Canada Junior?
Well, it was half painted when I got it.
Well, something.
They said me bugs, and they said you a half painted army. Great.
Yep. Now you know where you stand, Phil.
So more of kind of like the assault stuff that's been changed here is a couple of like major things. Is one, you need to declare, when you declare your charge targets, you need to be able to physically reach them during that charge. So no more consolidating into combat. No more kind of using the strats to get like a 6-inch consolidated to get away. You need to be able to get there the whole time. The other thing, which is kind of adjacent to this, would be that heroic interventions, if you are heroically intervened against, you can swing away on that character who's come in or squad that's come in.
Yep.
Those two are massive changes to how combat works.
They really are. Yeah.
Phil, what are some of your thoughts about those two things?
So I think that the having to get into combat with every unit that you declare was almost necessary for them to do to balance out the fact that they took away Overwatch from everyone. Because otherwise, you just declare everyone in 12 inches. I'll figure out what I'm going to do after this. It doesn't require any thought process, and you're just left as the person defending, like sitting there with your, thumb up your butt, and it's like, what am I going to do?
That was my 8th edition tactic.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's a lot of people's tactics. You sit there, you're like, well, this guy's like 11 and a half inches away. I need double sixes on this charge. But I'm going to declare him and this guy that's like 3 inches away. And if I get the double six, I'll go for him. If I get the three, I'll go for him. And it's like, right, that's fine. They both get to shoot at you. But if you're not letting them shoot at you, then there's no risk in making that call anymore. So
true.
Now, if you want to hit that 12-inch, you want to hit those double sixes, that's a huge risk because otherwise you're not getting in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on another point here. Overwatch is now a stratagem and not just kind of a base thing everyone gets.
Yeah.
As someone, again, you mainly play Dark Angels here with something like Grim Resolve, where you got that buff to 5-up. How do you feel about this change?
Well, we only got that in 7th edition.
Yeah, dude.
8th edition, we just one model.
It sort of works.
But it sort of works. But as someone who plays Dark Angels, who likes to have a whole bunch of like the DACA speeders that are sitting there with like a gajillion shot each, it's like, yeah, okay, charge me. That sounds great. I'm just going to shoot you, reroll everything, and then reroll the wounds. And it's like, yeah, go for it. Have fun.
Yeah. I'll be back in 20 minutes when you're done.
Exactly. Let me know when you removed all your models. Yeah. And that would be fine. But then the G Stealer cult player in me, it was like looked at that and was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Go against try to charge into all these DACA codes,
Right.
And I think that what they did was they took away again those feel bad moments because it's like, you're an assault army, you have to assault, and it's like this person is fine with you assaulting because they get to shoot you again, which is what they want to do anyway. So they get, like, it's good for them regardless of what's going on to you. Whereas when you're assaulting, it just hurts. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's like one unit you can use a psychic power on to stop them. So I feel like the changes that they made make it so that you do have to make tactical decisions still. Like, it's not because you want to avoid Overwatch anymore. Now it's because you want to make sure you can get in.
Right.
And because of that, it just increases the level of tactics and thought process and engagement in the game while still making it less of a brutal slaughter for anyone trying to do assault.
Yeah. So, and along those lines of other things, as a Dark Angels player, plasma overcharging, which I know you're a huge fan of, because I know every time we played, I tried to make you overcharge Azrael.
It doesn't take a lot to get to overcharge Azrael.
It does not. But now an unmodified roll of 1 always fails on that, which for someone I run Plasma Terminators, you run, obviously Dark Angels have a lot of plasma, and there's a lot of easy ways to mitigate that one by getting +1 to hit from literally 17 different sources. What's your feels on the now unmodified ones just being there?
Oh, really?
Well, I feel better with the unmodified ones. Yeah. Okay. I feel better with the unmodified ones because I was more likely to have -3 for shooting into a lightning reflex Eldari flyer than I was going to be getting the benefit of hitting on always getting a 2 result with a +1 hit. So to me, it feels like that balances out. You know, it's like, yeah, there's always a chance now for me to blow myself up. But most units, especially Dark Angels, if I stand still, I can reroll ones anyway.
Yeah.
But I never have like, well, I can't reroll twos, but because I was negative 47 to hit, because the Eldar Flyer is like 12.1 inches away from me, it means that, you know, I'm just dead. So it feels like a lot of the things the changes they made weren't meant to just like take away risk. They were meant to mitigate the feel bad situations that those risks were inherent with, you know. So it's like, yeah, I can't shoot my plasma at Eldar Flyers because I'm too much of a risk for me to do it. Now, yeah, it's 1 in 6 chance, but that's better than the 1 in the 50% chance or whatever it would become at -3. So.
For sure. Moving on to detachments. Now, the way armies are constructed, I think, is one of the things that's fundamentally changed. Instead of like your detachments gaining UCP, they start losing UCP. And I know, Danny, like you and I, when we're making lists, we're finding it very hard to move away from just like a single battalion because we want to hoard that stuff. What are your thoughts, Danny, on the new detachment system?
Well, I think overall, a lot of people are probably going to play with, like, especially if you're playing really competitive lists, I think that people are going to be down CP, or they're going to be down CP from where they normally are, like at the start. And then overall, they might have the same or a little bit more. So I really have been trying not to spend too many extra CP and kind of trying to keep it to that one battalion. If I have to, I've been kind of looking at maybe adding a patrol, but nothing really more than that. I don't really want to spend any extra points.
For sure. And then also some of the changes they made, like Supreme Command, gone as we know it.
Right.
Replaced with a much better rule, which lets you take your Demon Primarch or your Primarch or your Supreme Commander.
And so the rumor is, and don't quote me on this, but
I'm quoting you right now.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Grab a pen, Phil.
You guys are great.
Exclusive. Danny says.
I did hear a bunch of special characters are getting the Supreme Commander ability,
which makes sense.
Which is great. So, or I don't know, whatever that is, like the ability. I forgot what the keyword exactly is, but you can take them into Supreme Command and they won't count against your battalion, which is great.
And then finally, a reason to take fortifications.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Fortifications, if they share the keyword of your faction, which it looks like more and more factions are having unique fortifications, can now take the fortification detachment for free.
CP wise, right?
CP wise, yeah. Oh man, I wish I got an 85 tree for free.
I was like, wait a minute, I just go order a whole bunch of frag drills for my GSC.
Yeah. Well, now you can take one and not feel super bad about it, though. Really,
yeah.
And usually, I don't know. I find that I'm not using all 3 detachment slots anyway, and that might change in the future as like more games get played and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm totally fine with taking a fortification detachment right now, which is great.
Flyer wings.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm
gone.
That's gone too.
Gone. Get out of here.
Get the fudge out.
After last LVO, where my second game was against like a 6 flyer Iron Hand list, I'm just goodbye.
I had a game at ATC where I was Gene Stealer and got paired up against this Eldar Flyer guy who had literally 9 flyers and 4 characters, 2 of them on bikes and 2 of them with like the jump back wing thing that they have, and you just keep moving them back and forth and just keep it so that they were surrounded by the flyers. And it looks like it was like 2 guys on a really long charge in there to avoid being engaged with his flyers. It was miserable.
And again,
miserable game to play. It was no fun, and it was just like to get it out of here. So again, like the feel bad moments, they got rid of the 2 detachments that led to the most feel bad moments.
And then they reduced the effectiveness of the third one, probably, which is the super heavy detachment.
Oh yeah. No more triple Lord of Skulls.
Well, you can.
Well, you can, but it's
you're paying the points.
Money.
Yeah.
Out there. So I mean, I'm really happy when and like you said, Phil, there it seems to be this is the feels good edition. If you win, you're winning through skill and not because you found a bunch of janky stuff to do in an assault.
Exactly, and a lot of the complaints that I've been reading. I mean, it's the Warhammer community, so there's a lot of them. But they all seem to be centered around people being upset that they can't have easy ways to win the game, you know? Where they're like, whoa, I thought this was supposed to be the assault, and now you're telling me that they can also not let me trap them in a perpetual slaughter? Like, that doesn't seem right, you know? And it's like, no, that wasn't fun for your opponent to get caught in there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not going to be overwatched by a thousand tanks that are sitting back in the far corner for your assault army at the same time. So
yeah,
it feels like they really try to take away the bad feelings and make it more of a balanced choice where you make a deliberate choice of how you want your army to work, and then you make it work on the table, you know, and make it even more so because you can choose your secondary winning conditions so that you can literally tailor the mission to how you build your army to work.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, we're about out of time here. Before you go, plug your stuff. I'm aware you might have a couple things you might want to mention.
Let's talk about you.
Let's talk about you.
Talking about me?
Yeah, it's way more exciting than 9th edition.
What do you enjoy, Phil?
Long walks on the beach. Long discussions that last until the sun rises.
Do you like dogs?
A nice Chardonnay. I do like dogs.
I got music for
Be a
this.
dog person.
It's beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for in a Warhammer fan. So yeah, I'm just a YouTuber who likes to make stupid content. So I do a lot on the battle reports. I overreact to my dice, and just have fun. You know?
To be fair, we've seen your dice. They can be pretty terrible. It's not an overreaction when you get that 6 there.
Man, but I love those meme faces.
Exactly. And I do blame Danny for giving me weighted dice, but weighted the wrong way for my wedding.
It was all part of my plan.
Exactly. He was like, first step. We're gonna give him
But definitely, check out the Glacial Geek on YouTube, as he seems to have dropped from our connection. There he is.
Bye, Phil.
Hey, I was gonna say, what? That was a quick way to say.
Oh, let me pull this back up here.
Oh, because I can
Awesome.
hear you now. Can you hear me?
He's going to send us audio because he
Wait, can
can't
you
hear
hear
what
me?
we're saying right now, and that is
I can hear what you're saying
A-okay.
now, but
But
you
yeah.
can't hear me.
Check out the
can you
Glacial
not hear
Geek
me?
on YouTube. Also, check out his Patreon on YouTube, where you can interact with Phil and get everything taken care of. On top of that, he, like I said, on his YouTube channel, every Monday he releases a Warhammer 40k battle report. Every Friday he releases a Kill Team battle report. And most Wednesdays he releases a Deep Thoughts Thin Coats, where he sits and discusses Warhammer while painting.
What a great guy, though.
What a great guy.
And we love Phil.
Do we love him a lot? Hopefully he can hear what he's saying and is just kind of muted on our end.
He says he can. I can read his lips right now.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay.
I've been practicing
I can hear
that.
You guys.
Good times.
I hear you.
Whoa, dude. Whoa, that's creepy.
Dang.
But yeah, we are going to
Cool
take
it, Phil. This is a family show.
we're going to take a
Thanks,
quick
I'll try.
break and we'll be right back.